What's up, vinyl community? It's Matt, back with a little video. While I'm still kind of waiting to go back to work and kind of not able to do a whole lot around the house, I thought, what kind of video should I make? And I know for a while the most valuable records according to Discogs thing was going around, and I was putting together the top 10, and I thought, well, maybe I'll do my favorite albums A to Z, but that proved to be too difficult for me to pick in some of the letters. So I thought, why don't I do most valuable A to Z? And I want to address the elephant in the room on that. These kinds of videos, the most valuable, according to Discogs, most valuable A to Z, they are completely self-indulgent and inherently braggadocios, right? Like, we're showing these off. Like, we want to show off our most valuable records, right? And that's totally fine with me. I'm cool with that. You may have a problem with that. And if you've got a problem with it, that's fine. Don't watch the video. But I just think it's funny when some people are like, oh, you're just showing off. Of course, that's why we all make these videos, right? We want to show off our finds. We want to show off our collections. We want to share them with other people. I get excited when people show their most valuable records and when they tell the stories behind them. And I hope you enjoy seeing mine and hearing the stories behind them. So there we go. We got it out of the way. I'm sure there's going to be some thumbs down on this video just because of the content. And that's fine. But we're going to get into them, and hopefully this video won't be too terribly long, considering we've got 26 plus albums to show. So, first up, letter A, The Art of Lovin'. This is on Mainstream Records. I found this at Vintage Vinyl a couple years ago when the psych professor and I had a pretty big haul of some just wicked psych stuff, some rare stuff. This is an original, paid $17 for it. Average on Discogs is about $180. I would describe it kind of Jefferson Airplane at their most, bathing at Baxter's. B, Big Star, Radio City. This is a promotional copy. It's not a white label, but I believe it is stamped promotional copy on the label. It's on Ardent. Again, an original promo copy. I found this at a record show in St. Louis for $20. Average on Discogs is about $200. Just a classic. I still can't believe I found that record. Another St. Louis record show find for $20 is the Chirpin' Crickets on Brunswick. This is the textured cover, which means it's technically, I suppose, a first press. And there's the label. I've got it in a kind of a nicer jacket on the back for some reason. I will show you the back of the album. It's just liner notes. But this is in great condition. Again, I paid $20 for it. Average on Discogs is about $200. So really good stuff there, Buddy Holly, early rock and roll. It's just a fun listen. D, I've got two in the D because I was just going to do vintage stuff, and then I thought, why don't I show new stuff too? If I've got new stuff that's worth more, why not show that? It's technically the most valuable, right? But this is the most valuable vintage D in my collection. This is December's Children, also on the Mainstream label. Any of the psych stuff on Mainstream is collectible, so if you see it, pick it up, and it's usually really good. This is more kind of blues rock, a little bit psychedelic-ish, but kind of more blues rock. This was a gift from a friend, cost me nothing, and it's worth about $100, so it's pretty awesome. It's kind of a trade deal. But technically the most valuable D in my collection is the Dazed and Confused soundtrack. This is the Record Store Day release from the 20th anniversary, limited to 5,000 copies on green vinyl. My copy is 4,188 out of 5,000. On Record Store Day, whatever year that came out, I can't remember now. I should know just based off the 20th anniversary. 2013, right? Yeah, 2013. I did not find this locally, and I found a record store online out of Akron, Ohio, and I paid $40 for that shipped. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, so I wanted the soundtrack, and it's now going for about $125. They have, however, recently reissued this, so you can get it pretty readily available online or at your local stores because it has been reissued. The letter E, this is a new arrival. I just got this last week. It's an eBay find. I paid up for this. I paid $90 for this shipped and with tax on eBay. This is Euphoria, a gift from Euphoria. This is technically how it's housed, but there's the cover there. This is a rare Capitol release up there with the next one that I'm going to show. Fantastic kind of cosmic country psychedelia. Starts off with kind of a Baroque song, and then a country song, and then it gets all kinds of crazy, weird, fuzzed up country stuff. It's incredible. This has been a grail, white whale, whatever you want to call it, of mine for a very long time. And yeah, I took a chance on a listing, buy it now, make offer. I offered $80, and with tax and shipping it was $90. And this thing on Discogs median is $215, and it's VG, strong VG all around. So very, very happy to have this in the collection now. That's going to be in the top 10 finds of the year for sure. And then sticking with the rare capital theme, Food Forever is a Dream. I paid $35-ish for this on eBay. It may have been like $37. I can't remember the exact total on it. But another great site classic rarity on Capitol, and this one on Discogs averages $125. So Food Forever is a Dream. It's a great one. This was the thrift store find, 25 cents. Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, Ringware City on this one, but the vinyl is a really nice, I would say strong VG, borderline VG plus, and for 25 cents, you can't go wrong. This thing, like a year or two ago, used to be like a $30 to $40 album. Now, for an original on Discogs, the average is $80. It's insane. I know it's like #1 on Rolling Stone's newest 500 list. I don't know if that has to do with the price hike, but I'm glad to have a copy. Even with the ringware, I'm stoked to have a plain copy of that. The letter H. Harumi? I have no idea how to correctly pronounce it. This was an online purchase, I believe, if I remember correctly, for like $25, and it is now going for about $65 online. Although if you watch eBay and Discogs, you can find it under $40 here and there. It's not too terrible to find. This is a 2 LP set. It's not all great. I like about half to 3/4 of this album quite a bit, and the other, it's like okay. But it's definitely one, if you're a psych head, you gotta have this in the collection. It's on that Verve Forecast label, or maybe just Verve. No, Verve Forecast. So good stuff there. The letter I, I've got 2 for I as well. The first one is the vintage one, Ivory. I paid $15 to $20 for this at Vintage Vinyl, and it's about a $40 to $50 record on Discogs. I forgot to look up the official prices. Another one, kind of like Art of Lovin', kind of Jefferson Airplane, Bathing at Baxter's era kind of sound. Very good stuff. Very underrated album. I don't see this one shown a lot, but I really enjoy this record. It's great. But technically, my most valuable I record is a soundtrack to the Inside Llewyn Davis movie. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and probably my favorite soundtrack of all time. I bought this on eBay from a seller. There was like a 1-day sale only. They did this on the initial release. $5.98 you could get it for. So I paid $6 plus shipping, so it's probably like $10. And then after that, it went up to like the regular price. But they wanted to kind of do a throwback to the era that this movie is set in. And this thing now is going for like $75 and up online. I mean, it's out of print, I guess, so that's why it's priced so high, but beautiful, beautiful soundtrack and a beautiful movie. If you haven't seen it or heard the soundtrack, definitely check it out. The letter J. Jade, Faces of Jade. This is an original, also from Vintage Vinyl. I paid $13 for this, and the average on Discogs is about $250. The best description I can give is Beatles-esque pop rock with some psych elements. The most psychedelic song is My Mary More Than Ever. This is a good album. It's one that I have thought multiple times about selling, though, because it's one that I'm like, I would never pay, would I pay $100 to get this record since it's worth $250? I don't know if I'd pay $100 for this record. I don't think I like it that much. But I paid $13 for it. So since I paid $13 for it, it's really hard to let go of it. But it's a super clean copy. This has been reissued as well. You can get reissues for fairly cheap. I think it was reissued on colored vinyl, but it's a good album. It's worth checking out. And again, if you're a psych head, it's one well worth checking out and hearing. It's on the GAR label, General American Records, out of Cincinnati, Ohio. So kind of a private press kind of thing, but I think it was a label that had some distribution. So, but definitely a rare one there. The letter K, the Kinks. The Kinks are the Village Green Preservation Society. This copy came courtesy of the psych professor. He was digging in New York and found a copy for $45. Called me up and said, "Hey, I just found an original for $45. You want it?" I said yes, because I had a early '70s reissue that I had found at Vintage Vinyl for about $20. So I sold my copy for $40. Paid $45 for this, so technically, right, $5. Is that what I paid for this? Right? Isn't that how it works? That's what we tell our wives, right? But this is a super, super clean copy. And originals of this have shot up over the last year or so. Again, 45 bucks for this. It's about 125 is the average on Discogs now. And it's classic, right? Classic. This next one, the album is Listening, self-titled. I bought this off of somebody on Instagram, Constantine. You may know his records, and his Instagram handle is like Rare Records for Sale or something like that. I paid 65 bucks for this. The average is 120 online. This is some great, crunchy, heavy psych rock. I love this record. The song that everybody knows is Stoned Is. That's kind of the single off of this, and kind of rare that this is on Vanguard. Vanguard didn't do a lot of psych records, but this one is phenomenal. If you're into the heavier side of psych, the crunchier side, this is one well worth checking out. As is our letter M. Morgan. You knew it was coming. Thrift store find for 25 cents. Average on Discogs is, I honestly think it's a little bit over 300 bucks now, but when I made this list it was 250, so this thing is going up crazy. I think the last one for sale, if you check the sales history, was a good plus that sold for 250. That's insane. Stop doing that. Stop paying that kind of money for records in bad condition. Hold out for good copies. I know Sam's got one that he paid up for, and Jonathan Gilbert on Facebook in the YouTube vinyl community found one on a trip out to Seattle. I think he paid 10 bucks for it, and it was in the jazz section, so he found a steal of a deal, as did I at the thrift store. Phenomenal, heavy, crunchy psych rock, and essential. And very lucky to have found that for 25 cents. This next one, Neighborhood Children. I originally had found one on eBay for about 30 bucks that had tape along the top and was kind of rough. I ended up cleaning it up very nicely, and had kind of a VG cover, VG minus cover with a really nice disc. Well, this listing popped up on eBay about a year ago, and with shipping and tax it was 90 bucks, and it's near mint all around. It is an immaculate copy. Average is about 150, and I sold my other copy. I paid like 37 for it, and I think I sold it for 75, so made a little money on the other one to help kind of make up the difference for this one. There's an Acta label. Phenomenal pop psych, garagey pop psych. I love this record. It is probably top 10 records in my collection. I think it's amazing. Sundays has reissued it, so you can get it cheaper than an original if you're just wanting the music while we're seeking out. Next up is the O's. The O's were tough. First of all, I don't have a lot in the O's section, and the ones I do have are not that valuable. But the most valuable is the Organ Grinders Out of the Egg. The price sticker is still on it from Vintage Vinyl, $12.99. The average online is 25 bucks. It's kind of progadelic kind of stuff. It's an enjoyable record. I like this record quite a bit, but mine does have a slight warp that I've never been able to get out. It plays through, but I would like to... it's one of those, like, I don't have enough warped records to get a vinyl flat, but if I ever knew somebody with one, I would love to try to get the warp out of this. So there you go. That's, again, not super valuable, not super rare, but one you don't see a lot, and I think it's worth checking out. The letter P, The Power of Zeus, The Gospel According to Zeus. I bought this from Noble Records for about 75 bucks. Average on Discogs is 125. This is not a perfect copy. I don't even know if it's a VG Plus copy, probably VG all around. But I love this record. It's great. It's another kind of heavy, crunchy, psych rock kind of thing, but with a funk edge. It is on Rare Earth. I believe these guys were from Detroit. Don't quote me on that. I may be wrong about that. You'll let me know if I am. But this is a very good one to have. I know Dylan over at Noble Records is high on this one, as am I. Good stuff there. The letter Q, I've got two. The first kind of vintage one is Quill. I believe the psych professor also found this. It was 20 bucks. He was at a record store somewhere, asked if I wanted it. I said yep, so I paid him the 20 for it. It goes for about 40. So not super valuable, but a pretty good one. And it's been a while since I've listened to this, to be honest. I know it's psych, but oh man, this kind of sucks when your collection gets to a certain size. You kind of forget, don't you? And I should have done some listening before I did this video, but if I remember right, it's kind of just straight ahead psych rock with some kind of trippy stuff. The Yellow Butterfly, for some reason I'm thinking, is kind of a real trippy song. So Quill on Cotillion, yeah, the Cotillion label, but technically the most valuable. Oh, and that one, yeah, 20 is what I paid, 40 is what it's worth. This one I found at a thrift store for 25 cents. Queen's Greatest Hits. This is a weird pressing. It's like a New Zealand pressing, I believe. So I paid 25 cents for it. It's going for about 40 online. So those two were pretty neck and neck. And I just wanted to show this because Queen's Greatest Hits, Night at the Opera, The Game, a lot of their stuff is going for way more than it used to because of Bohemian Rhapsody a couple years ago, and for some reason people are still paying the high prices for it. It never really went back down. So if you've got some Queen in your collection and you don't care for them a whole lot, you can unload them. That's what I did. I unloaded all of mine. I don't even have Night at the Opera anymore, I don't think, and I just kept the greatest hits because I don't listen to Queen albums straight through, but I'll put on the greatest hits for sure. BC Cheer. We're getting there. The R's. The Remains is the first one I'm going to show. I technically have two to show in the R's because I paid 60 bucks for this. It goes for about $125, but this is probably a $60 copy if you look at sales history and condition. This is not in super good condition. The record is pretty rough looking, but plays through great. It sounds phenomenal. But yeah, it's, if I was valuing it, you know, it's not just going straight off of the average. If I was valuing it, I would say I paid what this copy is worth in this condition at 60. So if we're going off of actual value of what I think I could get for it, Richard Twice is the R that is the most valuable. I paid 13 bucks for this, pardon me, at Vintage Vinyl. And it goes for about 100 bucks now. 80 to 100 is kind of where you see this one fall quite a bit. And it's very good. I had searched this one out for a long time. I was very happy to find this in the bins. Generation 70, the opening track, and If I Knew You Were the One are the two strongest cuts on here. Also probably the most psychedelic afterwards. It's kind of more just folk rock kind of stuff with some psych elements thrown in, but just a strong album all around. Very good songwriting. Richard Twice. That's a good one to pick up. That's on the Phillips label. The S. This is the most valuable record in my collection. Skip Spence's Or. This is an original on Columbia. I found this at Vintage Vinyl. It was marked at $19. I had trade-in credit that day, so I technically only paid $7 for this thing. And the cover is near mint. The record is VG. But I'll take that for $20 or $7, however you want to look at it any day. This is $300 and up online. Folk, psych, acid folk, whatever you want to call it. It is a classic. It is well worth picking up. It's been reissued a million times. Pick it up however you can. I also highly recommend the And Or Again that came out. And also, I believe there's one, is it And More Again? There's one that's that's all covers. It's the album, but it's all covers by different people. And there's one that they put out that had some kind of extra demo cuts and B-sides and different things. Both are highly recommended. That is a phenomenal album. Again, probably a top 10 album in my collection. T, I have two. This is the vintage one. This is Thunder and Roses. I paid nothing for this. I helped a friend with an estate sale, and they let me pick out a couple records as a thank you, and I tried to pay them for this, and they didn't let me. I want to say this is around 50 to 60 bucks now. I forgot to look it up. Great bluesy rock, Cream-esque psychedelia. This is phenomenal, and this is a really, really nice copy of this. This is an essential to track down if you're into psych or blues rock, either one. It's fantastic. It's on the United Artists label. Technically, though, my most valuable T record is Tame Impala. I pre-ordered this before it came out. This is Currents. I probably paid 25 or 30 bucks for it. I think I had a gift certificate, though, so it didn't cost me that much. But this is the first pressing on the purple and amber, I think they call it, like yellow translucent vinyl. This goes for about $80 online. Tame Impala's Currents. It's different than their first couple albums. I know some people didn't like the electronic sound and direction that they took with it, but I actually do like this album quite a bit. I'm a Man is a really great song off of this one, and is it Changing? It's been a while since I've listened to it, but this is a really good Tame Impala record. U is a tough one. Not a lot of U's. Ultimate Spinach, Beholden Sea is my most valuable. I paid $1 for this in the dollar bins at Plaza Records in Carbondale. The condition on the record is not great. The average on Discogs is like 70 bucks. This is like BG minus, good plus condition, so it's not worth $70. But it does play through without skipping, and honestly, it's not that noisy. Kind of a surprising play, but so I don't know. If I was to sell it, it'd probably be 15 to 20 bucks as a kind of a filler copy, and I do need to upgrade this at some point, but because the value's gone up, I just haven't upgraded. The V's surprised me. I knew it was going to be a Velvet Underground record, and I thought it was going to be the Velvet Underground and Nico, because for a long time this was trending for about 125 on average. It is now trending for 80, and this was a gift from a friend, so it didn't cost me anything. Again, kind of a trade thing, but yeah, this used to be about 125 on average, and now it's showing about 80 on average, as is the Velvet Underground White Light, White Heat. This is actually trending for closer to 90. This copy, the cover is really rough. I got it on eBay for about $15. The record is immaculate. It's like a near mint record, rough cover. I need to find an upgrade cover at some point on this, but this was only going for about 50 or 60 for a long time, and for some reason now it's shot up to 90. So I don't know what the deal is there, but there's the V's. I have two W's. The first vintage is the West Coast Pop Art Experimental Band. I got this on eBay for about 25 bucks. It's still in the shrink wrap. It is an original. Again, it was $25 for me, and on average online it's about 60. And phenomenal, kind of garagey pop psych. It's very, very good. All of their stuff, I would say you need to seek out at least through volume 3. After that, the Where's My Daddy that's a weird one. Markley, a group, is okay, but the first 3 are just fantastic psych classics. But my most valuable W is the White Stripes Elephant. This is an original 2003 press on red vinyl and white vinyl. It's a 2 LP set. I paid $8 for this, and this goes for about 80. I know a lot of people complain about this particular pressing being a little bit noisy, and it is. It's got some pop and crackle in it. I've done the vacuum cleaner on it, and it still sounds bad, so it must have just been a pressing thing at the time, because I think just about everybody that has this copy has noise on it. But again, I paid $8 for it, and it's worth about 80, and it's so good. This is great stuff. All the White Stripes, I would say, is essential. Take it or leave it. X. I have no X's in my collection. I have no XTC. I have no X. I have no Exit. So I'm kind of cheating on this one. This is the Dukes of Stratosphere 25 O'Clock, which is technically XTC under a different name. They wanted to release a psychedelic album, and I believe Virgin didn't want them to do it under XTC, so they did it under the Dukes of Stratosphere. Technically, it's a mini album. There are 6 songs. They have another one, I think it's called Sonic Sunset. It's the second one, also a mini album with 6 songs on it. This sounds like a long-lost 60s psych garage album. It sounds like the Seeds on acid. It's really, really good. I love this record. This is a UK pressing. I paid 20 bucks for it online. I think it's worth about 25 to 30. So again, not worth a lot, but it was the only one I could think of that fit the X genre, or the X category. Why was another tough one. I thought it might be a Yardbirds record that would be the most valuable, but it ended up being the Yellow Balloon by about 5 bucks. I paid 17 bucks for this somewhere in Memphis, one of the Memphis record stores, and it's worth about $35, and it is pop, sunshine pop. There is nothing psych about this. You can maybe argue for some garage tendencies, but it is straightforward sunshine pop, and it's very enjoyable, but people call it psych all the time. They're not telling the truth. And Z, you probably guessed it, the Zombies, Odyssey, and Oracle. I paid 60 bucks for this, and it goes for about 125 online. My copy's about VG all around, but so it's probably not actually 125, but that is far and away the most valuable Z record in my collection, although I do have the Zoo Presents Chocolate Mousse, which probably is pretty close in value, to be honest, maybe a little bit lower, so I forgot about that one, but I'm just going to stick with this. The Zombies, Odyssey, and Oracle is a good closer on that. So there you have it, A to Z, the most valuable collection, or the most valuable albums, A to Z, according to Discogs, in my collection. That's a mouthful. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, these kinds of videos are completely self-indulgent and braggadocious, and look at me, give me likes, give me comments. Yes, absolutely. But I love seeing these kinds of videos. I like seeing what's in people's collections and seeing the variety. That's why I threw in the new stuff, because I wanted to show you variety. I don't just collect vintage stuff. I collect soundtracks, I collect new records, and wanted to show those as well. So I might have a new Vinyl Finds video here in a week or so. I went to Vintage Vinyl yesterday and did a little digging and found some stuff, and I've got a few things from the past year that I haven't shown. And I do still have that top 10 of last year slowly coming together. Man, it's a slog. It went long, and the editing is taking a long time to go through. But there you have it. This has been long enough. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.